That was such a blessing. Not only the choice, Raleigh, of the readings you wanted to bring forth, but your choice of who read them and the personal commentaries, the personal testimonies that went with them. It's such a blessing to my heart. I would like everyone to know, Lauren, one of your readings was from H. Emily Cady, and I would like you to know that her book, Lessons in Truth, is the foundational book that everyone gets and studies first when they enter into any of the Unity programs. It's called Lessons in Truth. And the first chapter of her book is called Bondage or Liberty, which? And for all of these 100+ years, the ministry has cheerfully put the word out that if you only read one book or study one piece of material in everything that the Unity organization and the Unity ministry has to offer, let it be this book. And they started out with all of their training, because not everybody who jumps into a ministry program or wants to become a licensed teacher, not everyone continues, becoming a minister or going to a program where you're studying spirituality and a different path. And everybody has their little honeymoon period of it. But if you're not sincere and not committed and not dedicated, a lot of people drop out. So that the Unity movement has decided we got to hit them with the most important teaching available. And Emily's book is not a lengthy book, and it is so structured and so filled with the power of transformative ideas and sharings, that if that's the only one that you read and own and allow to feed your soul, you will be set up to have been impregnated with the entire full spiritual philosophy of Unity and its transformation possibilities and for enlightenment. And I love that she starts out with the chapter Bondage or Liberty, which? And of course, because we're a thought ministry, she begins right away by letting us know that any experience of bondage is a mental construct, as are our experiences of freedom and liberty. I love that one of my favorite scriptures is from the Bible is stand fast in the liberty with which you have been set free, and be no more entangled in the yoke of bondage. That's an invitation for us to the right thinking and right mindedness and Christ mind consciousness, to be liberated and to do whatever we need to do and is called upon us to do to maintain our liberation. I know that there are a number of true students from a variety of paths who do get to a place of being free inside. They arrive at a place where they are in control and in governance of their thoughts, that they reach a level of nothing less than an experience of heaven on planet Earth. But we are called upon to maintain, to the best we can, that state of consciousness of heaven on earth, because it will be tested over and over and time and time and time again. Some people can have that state, and all of a sudden, something happens in the world of current events, and it's something shattering. and they begin to lose that and return. The scripture says, and be you not again entangled in the yoke of bondage. Bondage of thinking something's wrong, something's missing, something's broken. One of the most testing times to stand fast in the liberty with which Christ's mind consciousness has set us free and be no longer again entangled in the yoke of bondage. One of the most tempting moments in our lives to be entangled again in the yoke of bondage is when we lose the love of our life. When we lose our spouse, when we lose a best friend, when we lose our mom or lose our dad, or when we ourselves are going through the experience of a life-threatening visit from some form of dis-ease. It's how am I to stay at ease in my own mind and in my own heart when my body is being visited by such a clear, overwhelming, blatant appearance of dis-ease? How can I stay at ease in the face of dis-ease? Whether it's the appearance of disease in my own body self, in my own mental space, my own emotional space, when there is the appearance of lack and limitation financially, and how do I stay at ease? When a best friend like drops me, just ghosts me, just disappears, and I don't know why. How am I to stay at ease? How am I to stand fast in the liberty with which Christ's mind consciousness has set me free? How am I to no more again be entangled in the yoke of bondage? There are some tests that are really big tests, but every test offers us an opportunity to have a testimony of how I was tempted to lose it, which invited me to tenaciously hold on to it, to hold on to standing in the liberty with which Christ's mind consciousness has set me free. Bondage or liberty? Which? Which do I choose? In one of my spiritual classes that I did recently, someone brought up the subject of what's going on currently in the politics of the United States of America. And the person was saying, it boiled down to, I am loving hating right now. I am high on hating. And what if I don't want to stop? What if I want to keep on loving hating? There are a number of people that I just hate. There are groups of people that I just hate. There are certain religious paths that I just hate. Certain political forms that I just hate. And I giggle about it. I'm high on it. And I feel liberated. And I went, whatever works for you, huh? But I am not the Zoom that I think you need to be on. I'm not the teacher who is in support of loving hating. I will tell you that I do understand it, though. And I will tell you that I've had a period in my life where I loved hating a couple of politicians. One of the presidents of the past, the further back past. I had a period of loving hating. I had a period of loving, thinking I was right about him being darkness, evil. And the great thing about me having that period is that it was so icky to me inside that when I dropped that rock, I knew I would never again pick up a rock, be on a mission, or green light myself to love hating. What an interesting concept. I was so grateful that this person brought this up in this space because it invited a number of people to share their own testimonies of their own liberation from times in their lives where they were fully engaged in loving hating. Someone said, I loved hating my dad. I loved judging him. I loved stoning him. I just loved hating him. Until one day, I found out about his growing up time. I found out how his dad was with him. And I suddenly knew he's doing the best he can, considering his imprinting. And so that's when I dropped the rock. Taking on the mind of Christ and staying in it takes vigilance, it takes persistence. Bondage or liberty, Carlos Wayne? Which? There's the symbol on the coin. What are you going to call it, brother? You're going to interpret it as danger or opportunity? For a long time, many, many years now, when an appearance of lack or limitation financially with abundance visits my life, I'm ready for it. Because faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So I do not see money in my account. I do not see the finances to pay the mortgage or the electric bill. It's not here. Boy, oh boy, is that exciting. Because faith is not in what's here. It's what the faith will bring here. Faith is faith in the invisible possibility. I don't have to have faith that I got $10 in my pocket if I got $10 in my pocket. It's arrived. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. That to me is so exciting. When I don't know an earthly way that some challenge is going to be met, it's still in the realm of the invisible. Way back when Johnny Earl was on the planet and we were living in Florida, I was getting songs all the time, just constantly. I called them dream songs, but sometimes they would come in the daytime. Where just suddenly, boom, I would be having a dream, and all of a sudden in the dream, I'd see myself going to the microphone, and Johnny Earl would be playing the piano, playing a tune I'd never heard in my wake life. And all of a sudden I would start singing, or together we would start singing a song that was given to me. And I'd run into his room and wake him up. And he'd like, oh Lord, another dream song. And he'd get up and go to the piano. But a very simple chant came to me. It was just simply called Invocation. And the words were, most holy, everlasting, and invisible God, creator of creation. My imagination calls you in from formlessness to bless my physical world. God bless my physical world. Now let me ever know that I have access to thee, all substance ever waiting for my own creating, making all that's ever been within my physical world. Attend my physical world. And that little invocation has sung inside of me more times than I can count since 1979 or 80, when it first came to me in a dream. Most holy, everlasting, and invisible God, creator of creation, my imagination calls you in from formlessness to bless my physical world. God bless my physical world. Now let me ever know that I have access to thee, all substance ever waiting for my own creating, making all that's ever been within my physical world. Attend my physical world. I told you all that throughout those years where I was experiencing a mysterious infection or whatever it was in my body, in my intestines. And you all know it turned out to be, after more than a dozen years of being challenged with it, it turned out to be something as simple as that I was intensely allergic to cow dairy. But during the process, I believe I told you that while I was going through an extreme case of every day, all through the day diarrhea, and the pounds were dropping off my body, and I was experiencing a very deep experience of utter exhaustion, physically wiped out, unable to process food. My ongoing chant, my ongoing mantra was, I am in the best of health. Every day, in every way, I am in the best of health. Physically, emotionally, mentally, financially, relationally, in every aspect of my beingness, I am in the best of health. As years went by, that remained my mantra. And as years went by, one more and then another of my friends would say, wow, you've had this thing going on for what, 11 years now? And you're still doing that mantra? You haven't given up on it? I said, listen, I must not be in a place where I find myself yielding to the temptation to believe it is not so in spirit, and therefore must become so, physicalized. All substance ever waiting for my own creating, making all that's ever been in my physical world. I've also told you that when Johnny Earl took his last breath, the love of my life, it took me a while to want to live. It took me a while to even want joy. I did no affirmations for joy. For whatever reason, I was embracing my pain, keeping the story of my pain. Although I did not have overt suicidal ideations, I sure wouldn't have minded any time to go to sleep and not wake up. I did that for months until Johnny Earl, in his spirit, visited me in my bedroom one day when I was minding my own business and simply being empty and sad. Darling, he said, if you wish yourself to die, just know this. You will not come to the sphere. You will not come to the dimension where me and your daddy and your brother Chuck are. We are in a sphere of life where we fought to live and then made our transition. If you secretly wish to die so that you can join us, you won't, not for a while. Because although we all return to the fullness of the light, your deep thoughts take you into a dream world where you will dream yourself still apart from us. It was a shake awake. Embrace life. Carly, embrace life. Live the truth, you know. Faith in a positive outcome or a negative outcome. In my last teaching session, a good half dozen people acknowledged that if they tell the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth about where their heads have been over the last months, that they have really, really been up against a battle not to succumb to fear and a negative outcome. They really fear that democracy is about to truly be lost, that we are truly about to live as citizens of the United States of America, something like we have read about in history books, or that is alive and well and living in other countries under dictatorships and all that that brings with it. Well, I acknowledge, yes, it can be a struggle, and you can win. Just keep plugging in. Let all of your mind's meditations and your heart's desires be to keep your faith in a positive outcome. Is it easy? Not necessarily, as my brother Bob just said, it's our work. It doesn't come without our working. Back to Johnny Coleman. It works if you work it. These principles work if we work them. And back to one thing that Reverend Carlos shared toward the beginning of our time together, premeditation. I'm so glad we have one another. I'm so glad I can think of any single one of you anytime I want to and know we're in cahoots. We're partners. We are working on a building with a strong foundation. It is the building of the mind of Christ in the minds and in the hearts of each of us all together, all at once. And again, I say to you, trust me, believe me. I am as inspired by you than you have ever been inspired by me. That's the way it works. I am me. I don't inspire me. You inspire me. As I watch you attend to the fifth unity principle. Look at them, Gotti. look at your kids, Gotti. For them, knowing and understanding the laws of life, also called truth, isn't where it ends. Look at them. That's just the beginning. Oh, Gotti. No wonder you love these kids. Doing whatever it takes diligently to live the truth they know. This is the company I am blessed to keep. How blessed am I? Shucks. I am blessed beyond measure. Thank you for being you, a part of me. You are the face of God. Amen.